Hello, dear listeners. I am Professor Nitin Arora, the head of MIT University Reiki Foundation Center for Science of Happiness. And you are listening to your favorite show, Executive Harmony, Conversation with CEO on Happiness and Spirituality. I am right now at Radio MIT 107.8 FM. Today is our 10th podcast, and we are so delighted that we are being joined by our guest, Mr. RAMPRASAD AKKISETTI, the Managing Director of CCBA Designs, Pune. Welcome, Mr. RAMPRASAD ji.
Thank you very much to welcome me over here. I came from Pune and I'm greatly surprised to find myself in MIT University. You have a lovely campus. I'm more so surprised to see that you have 40,000 students in this campus. It's a bustling campus with a lot of happy faces. And I hear that you're the head of the Center for Happiness. That makes me very happy to be over here.
Before I enter into conversation with our wonderful guest, let me little bit say about a profile about our guest. Today we have the honor of hosting Mr. RAMPRASAD AKKISETTI, a visionary in architecture, art and education. As the founding managing director of CCBA Designs, Pune, alongside the late Professor Christopher Benninger, RAMPRASAD transformed the firm into a powerhouse of architectural excellence, shaping iconic projects like IIT Hyderabad, IIM Calcutta, Azim Premji University, Bajaj Institute of Technology, the Supreme Court of Bhutan, and Loda Belmondo, nurturing a workforce which upholds the highest standards of design excellence. Originally, he was a medical student at AFMC. His passion for design led him to co-found CCBA Designs in 1995. Over nearly 3 decades, he has won numerous prestigious awards including IIA Gold Medal, the Great Master Architect Award, and a nomination for the Aga Khan Awards for Architecture. Beyond his architectural achievements, RAMPRASAD ji is deeply committed to education and mentorship. He has instituted several scholarships and gold medals in the honor of his late mentor Professor Benninger, encouraging students to aim for excellence. He has authored Christopher Benninger Architecture for Modern India and also published Letters to Young Architect, a bestseller translated into many languages. With global experiences across 50 countries, RAMPRASAD ji blends innovation with tradition, shaping not just space but also minds. Let's dive into this wonderful discussion with this wonderful gentleman, Mr. RAMPRASAD AKKISETTI ji. Once again, welcome to the podcast Executive Harmony.
Thank you so much for that wonderful, elaborate introduction to me. I feel very nice about myself now.
RAMPRASAD, starting with the first basic question, what is happiness for you?
That's a very loaded question at this point to me. If you ask me, happiness to me is being myself and to kind of discover who I am and to find the purpose for what I was born. And if I do all these things, I feel that like I've achieved the goals of happiness. Generally, I'm a happy person because I try to listen to my heart and follow my heart. As you have mentioned in my introduction that I have dropped out of a very prestigious medical college, Armed Forces Medical College, in my 3rd year of MBBS. That is when I met my mentor, my guru, Professor Christopher Benninger. And then I plunged into a completely different, work or profession. So I think I'm a person who likes to follow my heart. I like to be on the right side of everything. And that gives me tremendous amount of happiness.
I'm sure, so your career blends architecture, art and education. What brings you the most joy in your work? Like what literally? Because bricks, buildings, we just know labors, we just know boardroom, we just know designs. But where is the joy in this? How do you see the joy?
See, when we are doing buildings, we are doing architecture. See, it's a very complex project because understand like architecture is probably one of the most expensive professions. A client comes to us with hundreds of crores. They have a desire to build some campus, just like MIT campus. We have to have the vision to kind of transform his vision into something which is buildable. And there's a lot of money at stake. for which we are responsible. We have to give a shape to it, we have to give an identity to it, and we have to give a soul to it. When we are able to transform these visions into reality in the form of buildings, and when these buildings are part of a campus, and we feel generations of people graduating from here happily with achievements, going out to face the big bad world and to make their mark over there and to contribute what they are meant for, I think that gives a sense of happiness, because you do feel that you have created these spaces of purpose.
Okay. Purpose se kuch yaad aaya. Somebody has said very wisely, if you want to stay happy, have an intentional living. So yes, if this is one of the reason of your happiness, I remember meeting with a forensic science head of department. So I accidentally entered into their crime room. So in their crime room, they used to have a body hanging, a dummy body hanging with the spots of blood painted by default. So I took a photograph with that hanging body and I posted in the groups.
Right.
So people said, "Sir, what is this? Why you are painting? Why you are posting a photograph with the hanging body and this?" I said, "I was told this is happiness room for them." And he said, "So where is happiness in this?"
Right.
Then the head said, "Ke finding a justice for a victim is happiness. So we are solving their puzzle. So this is our happiness room." So same thing, they have a purpose, something like that. Like you say,
happiness,
people graduate from
happiness can mean different things for different
things.
people. And but that's a very nice perspective. I never thought about that. Yes.
Your bond with your mentor, Professor Christopher Benninger, is remarkable.
Right.
We all are aware of that.
Right.
Would you like to share a joyful memory of working with him that continues to still guide you?
I think one of the key facets of Professor Christopher Benninger, which I noticed, is that he was always very humble. And that made us feel very comfortable. So when a mentor is very humble and not wearing these wings of pride, it actually brings the learning closer to you. So despite being a professor at Harvard University, despite having a PhD from MIT, very rarely you find people who have gone both to Harvard and MIT and then coming to India to set up the School of Planning over here, leaving everything aside.
So that School of Planning
is in Ahmedabad.
Was made by him.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So then when you see this is a guy who's come with a purpose, he could have very well been at Harvard. You know, most people dream of going there. He was not only a student over there, but he also was a teacher over there. So he left everything and he came with a purpose. And what I found in him is that like he is a very common man. He can talk to a gatekeeper. He can talk to an intellectual. He can talk to ministers. He would touch across the entire cross section of the society. I think that is something which I found it very, very unique. To remain humble despite your achievements is a rare quality. And I would always say that like every student should be like taught this first. How do you kind of, ground yourself?
There are, this is a very right way of thinking. If somebody can be grounded, somebody can stay humble. So I'm sure the philosophy of seed is to be grounded, and then the roots rises and the shoot rises.
Absolutely.
And the seed become a tree.
So that is one thing that like I could say that in the last 31 years of my association with Professor Christopher Benninger, that like there is never a point that I have never questioned myself that if I'm grounded or not, and it helps me to be more basic than naturally, and it gives you that space to kind of open up your room for more intellectual content to come inside you when you are more open.
So I heard that you have traveled to 50 countries. Is it so?
55 countries.
50, you add 5 more.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. So you have traveled to 55 countries.
Yes.
Could you share some experiences that left you still feeling deeply inspired from whichever country you loved the most, or the experiences?
The country that I love the most is France.
It's France.
Yeah, I make it a point to go to Paris almost every year.
Okay.
Yeah. What I feel is that the French somehow have understood their history better than most of us. They've preserved it, they celebrate it. There is a continuation of their history even into their present life. And they have somehow found the meaning of this Italian phrase which I always say, the la dolce vita, which means the beauty of life or the beautiful life, whatever you can call it. And for them, the beautiful life means good food, how you dress, how you keep your buildings, what kind of conversations that you have, what kind of poetry you read, what kind of films that you see. And this is what makes it what is called civilization. And I found that the French, even till today, they somehow, generations and after generations, they somehow inculcate this in their upbringing. And that's why you see even their language is very sweet. Indian languages are also very sweet, but who is speaking and who is teaching them how to speak makes all the difference.
So those students and the people, those who are listening to this, one of the takeaway immediately from this answer given by this wonderful person, RAMPRASAD ji, that talk sweet.
Absolutely.
If you can talk sweet, most of the issues are resolved.
Correct.
I have heard, I remember I staying in a house and the neighboring talk was as if they are fighting. But then I realized that this is not their fighting talk. This is their different normal talk. And there are some people when they are fighting also, they talk as if they are talking very sweet. So there is a tremendous impact of the words, or you can say way of saying it.
How you express
How
it.
you express
What's
it.
your tone?
What's your tone?
Yeah.
So it makes a difference.
Right.
Many people, those who are listening, they don't think French for the buildings. They think something else. They associate French with, I will not say what, people can guess in their comments and all that. So what is French meaning coming for them, including the dress or including the postures and all that. They think only French is that. French fries and all this and all that. But it is far more deeper.
Much, much deeper, yeah.
So you have received prestigious awards and recognitions. Which one holds the most?
I must correct, I'm just a representative of my firm, which I founded with Professor Benninger. So when I talk, I will never say that like I have received it. I would say that my organization, CCBA Designs, has received several awards, because we make it a point that whenever we are taking a project and we have to do architecture, we always tell our client that we must ask singular questions. Would this project be something out of the box? Would this project achieve an award or a notoriety? Would it be published? Would it be timeless? To us, the timelessness is very important, because when we are building buildings, we are building on the earth forever. No building once it's built is ever torn, at least for the 60 to 100 years.
100 years.
So when we are building with sensitivity. And when we are building with sensitivity, we must bring in what is that we can bring it to demonstrate the time and the skill that we hold today, that our next generation will celebrate it. किसने बनाया होगा इतना खूबसूरत बनाया? अभी भी हम लोग जाके ताजमहल देखते हैं, मीनाक्षी टेम्पल देखते हैं, किसके लिए? It should always inspire you, and buildings must inspire. It is the buildings that creates a civilization. So that's why we always ask our client, because as an architect, you are just like half. But you have a client who becomes from a client a patron of arts and architecture. And that's when the whole team is completed. And when the client becomes a patron, he understands the aesthetics that we want to bring in. And a beautiful project is made, just like how your Amity University is. And all good projects, beautiful projects win awards. And we have won several of them. But one of the criteria for us is that, like, will this win an award or not? And that is how we take the commission. Otherwise, we don't. We let go the projects.
So this is a wonderful way of thinking of the word let go. in happiness, sometimes we have to say that you have to let go your traumas, let go your attachment, something. But very difficult to explain this, how to let go and what is the method. So professionally, I think you have given, or you can say the bingo one point is, if you want to do something, do it for the best. And if it gets an award, then why not? Then only take up the project.
Yes.
So, from a perspective of a student, how, if I want to relate, how to learn, let go of some assignments, some meetings, some movies. If you are watching a movie, will that movie add value to their assignments or to their learnings? If not, just let go. If it is just for the distraction, maybe this is distraction for them. But if they can handle that and they can cumulatively, they can make some meaning out of that, it makes far more better impact. Wonderful way of saying let go.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
I think we must all learn to let go. Sometimes a failed relationship, let go. Some subjects we just are not meant for. Change your subjects, let go. Sometimes, a journeys that you want to take, they don't happen because of financial constraints or maybe logistics or something, let go. Because life is not short. The problem with our generation is that we all want to cram the entire life of 60 years of adulthood into 6 years, and we want to have our car, our first house, our first affair, our first foreign travel, everything crammed up, and that is where the stress builds up. Always think that let it go now. I don't have to travel right now. I can travel later on. It's a huge life. Think about it. We never think about it that if your average student is 20, 22 or something like that, and 20 years from now they will be in 40s. I'm 53 myself. So imagine when I'm 50, I look back and I see that I have worked for 30 years and I have 30 more years to work. And when I started in my 20s, I did not know anything, right? And I had a singular goal of some aspiration, but I was not running after everything. There are things that now I have kept it to myself. And I have said that now that I'm 53, I could have my second career and I could do those things because I want to work till 80. So we don't need to cram life. Let go, space it out, and then life will be very stressless.
Yes. I remember one interview of the CEO of Amazon, Jeff Bezos. A question was asked, sir, what is stress? So he said, stress is coming by not managing what you can control. If we can just manage what we can control, stress is manageable. But if you are trying to control what you cannot manage, you are increasing your stress levels.
I agree. I mean, don't overburden yourself with too many things planned out in a day or something like that. Have 4 or 5 things in your whole year that you want to kind of focus up, and then be worried about that. So I was saying that I think have a few agendas for your life, which could be your main agendas, and the rest can be your secondary or tertiary agendas. But don't kind of pack up yourself. I see nowadays a lot of parenting is over-parenting.
Over-parenting, helicopter parents.
Helicopter parenting. I think these are all new words our parents never knew about. So I see they are so stressed out. Sometimes the parents, I have to take them to language classes. I have to take them to Bharatnatyam classes. I have to take them to French classes. I have to take them to clay modeling classes. They themselves have no idea why do they want to put such a pressure on the kids? Do they want him to be a master of everything? It's impossible. They themselves have never found even one person in their life who could do all these things. And guitar classes. I think we are just overburdening in our times to overachieve, which is absolutely unnecessary. Each one of us are built to do something. Let's do that something very, very well. You are born to become a teacher. Be a great teacher. Be a better version of yourself. Every year, ask a question. Am I a better version of my previous version, I am here to run CCBA. I have to ask the question, am I a better version of my previous, avatar? Can I improve my organization? Can I do better buildings? Can I make them more cost effective and sensitive and timeless? I think singular goals are very important.
Those who are listening, maybe they are aware or no, Finland is number one in ranking of happiness. So one of the factor found for their happiness is aesthetics of buildings, or you can say how beautiful the buildings are made.
Absolutely. Good architecture.
Good architecture. So, and sir is a master of architecture and done wonderful buildings he has done. Sir, which building you love the most? Or you are going to say to me, I love all my buildings. Or you are going to like a mother, okay, I love all my children. All are my wonderful babies.
You seem to have already answered. But yes, I'll tell you, I think the Mahindra United World College was one of our first bonds. So 30 years back. Back in those days, it has broken all the orthodox versions of what a teaching institute should be like. So it has broken all the things. And it has actually married into modern sense of designing buildings, what was called vernacular ideas of learning, wherein you have indoor, outdoor learning, wherein you have very loosely structured classrooms. A teacher could decide to take a class outside.
How that happens? Sorry.
Because when you design a classroom with a nice courtyard besides it or a veranda next to it. So you can sit some days in the verandas and talk. And then you can give assignments where they can like sit in the courtyard and do. So all teaching doesn't have to be within the four walls. And so that broke all the things. And it won the American Institute of Architects Award, which was one of the first, prestigious and big awards, international awards. So I feel very happy about that. Then I'm very proud of India House. India House marries my place of residence as well as place of work. So my house, my studio and a gallery all are in one nice, tight urban plot on an arterial road in Pune. But we have done it so sensitively that like we could live there, we could work there and celebrate life there. And all this happens without each one trying to be on top of each other. So when I live over there, I feel very peaceful. In fact, there are about 60 people who work in the company. Most people come and think that no one is working over there. And that is where the behavior modulation comes. I tell people who come to my workplace that you're coming to a place of meditation.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So try to be here in a meditative state. Working doesn't mean that you have to yap and chat and talk all the time. So there is no noise. As if 60 people have disappeared. So that is what is called the part of the behavior modulation or operations. And the buildings or the architecture also kind of creates that aura for people when they come over there. They feel that they have to change their behavior.
Right. Sir, I heard that you are providing scholarships to honor Professor Benninger legacy.
Correct.
How does this helping others succeed bring you happiness? Or how does it how this idea came and how is it going, acceptance and all that, how it is working out?
I feel that any kind of help to the needy is welcomed by the society. And the best way to remember somebody is making them Amrit, alive, or let's say eternal, by instituting awards. That would be a matter of pride. I have instituted many gold medals and scholarships on the name of Professor Christopher Benninger for students of architecture, young architects, practicing architects. Because winning that award also channelizes something which is called, yes, I do want to be like the next Christopher Benninger. So it's a motivation. One. Second thing for me is that I do see that I am giving these awards and I have the hope to see the next Christopher Benninger being born. So I think it's a very nice way to kind of keep somebody in the spirit of that somebody alive, by instituting awards and gold medals and In fact, we have adopted a school also It's a unique school. It's probably the only ambidextrous school in the country, in Singrauli, Madhya Pradesh.
I heard so.
Yes,
I heard so.
So I have adopted that, and I was very enamored by this gentleman who is my age, 55, and he has taken the onus of building this school and imparting education to these children by teaching them to write by both the hands, all free of cost. And he does it with extremely little resources. So I felt there is something that I could actually kind of do it. And he was very kind enough to say that he would want to name it after Christopher Benninger, this school.
Is it?
Yes. So I said I would like to take up the whole cost of running the school and, paying your salaries, everything, and which is not much actually, surprisingly. And so it gives me happiness. I think giving always gives happiness.
Yes. Like a mother or a father.
Absolutely.
Or somebody who
when we share, I think our happiness becomes double.
Right. Sir, I heard about this letters to a young architect, which has inspired many. What feedback or story from a reader, or if you got a feedback somebody that who has read this book, brought the most joy or some kind of inner satisfaction? Okay, somebody has been impacted. Anybody must have contacted you, or somebody must have talked to you.
See, up until the Letters to Young Architect was published, there was no...
This was in which year?
2011.
2011.
There was no book on architecture which was teaching you about the philosophy of architecture or the profession of architecture. What's the meaning of an architect? Everybody sees, unfortunately, in the times that we live in our country, everything is a job holding preparation. Like you're doing a course because you feel that at the end of the course you'll get a job. So but Christopher kind of taught what architecture is in a philosophical manners. And this book was written with that, with no photographs. Everybody thinks architect's book should have a lot of photographs, but this is not a photograph book of buildings. It's about, and it can be even, this is a book which can be read by anybody and applied to any profession. You could be a doctor, you could be an engineer, you could be a lawyer, because the language and the thought processes which was written was meant for everybody. I'll give a small example. He says that you need to always find wise men in your life. You must have a quest for wise men. So that has nothing to do with architecture. It could be applied to anybody. Why does it say? Because wise men are like a library. You surround yourself with wise people, you're going to become wise one day too.
That's a wonderful statement. Wise man is like a library.
Yes. They are talking to you from the experiences of their decades of life. So in the same way, he says that you must always search for the good in the person. Instead of criticizing, try to search for the good in the person. We are very human and we like to find faults. But there must be something good. And that can be applied to anything. You can find something good in the building too. And take that one, remember in your mind. And when you have to design the buildings, use that goodness in your building too. The building itself may be very bad and ugly, but there could be something good. The way he has handled the door, the way he has handled the light, or maybe the way he has assembled the toilets. So I think we need to try to see the good in anything and everything around us.
I'm sure you and the audience must have heard about the Steve Jobs' famous reason how come he was able to design the best iPhone. So he said, in my education times, I attended the class for calligraphy. So people said, what is calligraphy to do with your iPhone designs? He said, I was in love with the design of the fonts. So it looks so beautiful. It looks so elegant. So I ensured in the iPhone, everything that was designed, it should be very elegant.
Absolutely.
And he also said the design was such superior class that we don't provide a manual for a phone. It should be automatically, subconsciously, design should be something like that. We don't have to read the manual what to do this and what to do that. It has to be very much elegant design. So yes, this way, if it is okay, if you could relive one happiest moment of empowering someone, what would it be?
Empowering someone.
The happiest moment of you must have empowered somebody, blessed somebody, and things happened, click, trigger, fusion reaction, something like that.
Oh, okay, I'll tell you. There's this boy who works in my house, in the office. He came from Bihar. He did not want to study. And he came...
Achha, I'll stop you. Audience, you should listen, understand one thing. Ramprasad ji, office and home are same. He had designed his big mansion of an office in such a manner. He has a home inside that. And one more thing, we were talking backstage before the podcast started. He said, most of my employees, I gave a policy. And the policy was interesting. He said, those of my employees who will buy the house near this house, the office only, I will pay 20% of their EMI or their value of the money of the house. That's a wonderful way. I said, what is sense in that? He said, now they are loyal to me for lifetime, kind of a thing.
That I said it out of just like a joke, but realistically I saw that when I asked you the question that how much time do you spend in commuting, and you said 2 to 2.5 hours each day.
Right.
And I felt these Indian cities are going to, at least for the next 20 years until we have metro systems and better urban design, they're going to be difficult for normal men to kind of live. And what is a city that doesn't give you that extra free time? None of us have any free time. No free time. So a lot of 20% of our time goes into what is called waking hours, goes into travel. So that's not a good thing,
That's not a good thing.
So when we built India House, we decided that why don't I give 20% of the down payment to my staff and colleagues who work for the company, that I will offer them, if you buy within the 1 kilometer radius and walk to work, we will do the 20% down payment. And it's an attractive thing. Of course, for them, it's an attractive thing because the office is paying for it. Yes. For me, the long-term attraction is that I would have my most important core staff members staying nearby. They will each save 2 hours of their life.
Every day. Lifelong.
Which either they can contribute to themselves or to their family or to the office, but not onto the roads. See, that extra free time which you'll waste is very important for creativity. The freedom of wasting time is very, very important. Because when you empty, that's when you get the most beautiful ideas. You can't pack your brain with everything. Yeah. So that's why I thought that it could be a good idea, and then it has worked. So we've been there for 17 years now.
So you have designed IIT Hyderabad, I think IIM Calcutta, and I think Azim Premji University also.
Right.
Beside these, which you have designed, is there any existing architecture or the building or the temple that you are fascinated about? That you say, wow, who must have done that? And you must have gone to research of that and find some amazing information about that this is impossible. Even I can't do it even today. Is there anything that you have found out?
Oh, yeah, this not in India.
Okay.
I think in the rest of the world there are some fantastic, pieces of architecture which are coming up. I found that the Sydney Opera is
too complex?
No, it's not complex, but it's a beautiful idea.
It's a beautiful idea.
Yeah, that is something which fascinates me even today. There's a museum in Alexandria, Egypt, which is beautiful. If I have to ask to kind of design that, I would love to design that. I think there are buildings like that, and I would say the Meenakshi Temple complex is a beautiful idea, which was designed by the Chola kings. So I think Indian history has so much, modern architecture has many. We cannot say there is one or two buildings. There are just too many, and all around they're all around here.
If somebody asks you to design a happiness building or a happiness center or something like a happiness university, is there any specific thing you would like to think on, or you would like to say they are just general, but all buildings are same meanings and all that? Or do you want to do something extra in that?
Yeah, I think I would say a building meant for happiness would have a lot of amphibian spaces
Amphibian spaces.
which would have indoors and outdoors. Human beings generally feel more connected to nature. That lends to happiness. Spaces should not be claustrophobic. The spaces should have double height ceilings. They should have like volumes which are larger, because human beings generally feel very awed by large volumes. Like when you go to a church, when you go to a gurudwara, or when you go to a big hall or a central dome or an atrium, you do look at it and you feel that your what is it, dopamine, am I correct? It's secreting, and then you feel, wow, how nice it is. It creates happiness. So these elements should be dealt at a spatial level. Then human eye also likes what is called detailing. Yeah, how a corner meets a corner, some kind of a window detailing, some kind of wall detailing, or some kind of flooring pattern. So these are the things. Ceilings are the biggest surface of a building. Create a ceiling, not just false ceilings. Create maybe like coffered ceilings. Create arches. Maybe create domes. Create some murals, because your eyes are in the upper part of your body. You want to watch towards the ceiling. And many times these ceilings are like now with false ceilings. It doesn't lend anything. You're cutting the space. Have great windows that allows you to see the vistas. Design your building sensitively. If you have a river, open it up to that. If you have a bad construction site or a kachra depot next to you, close it with a long, strong wall. So these are the kind of modulations that you can do to create any building to be happy.
Sir, I heard that you have organized a Pune's film festival on architecture
Yes.
and urbanism.
Right.
It's like very unique. Like, what is this all about? Like, we have architecture means simple buildings, but film festival on architecture, what was that?
Yeah, you're right. For a common man, architecture is just building, because that is what we have presented. It is like for common man, the greatest food is dal chawal, right? But that's not cuisine, right? It's food, kitchen food, right? So can that be the purpose of humanity? No. Human beings have been created to challenge the horizons. If people are able to create with the same, raw materials, dal, the same raw materials can be used to create 5-star Michelin cuisines, right? So we need to explore and exploit our potential. And this film festival actually brings to the common man of the city of Pune to understand what can good architecture do. If you design buildings, instead of just building what is called a house, which either looks garish or it could be just mundane spaces with bedrooms and living rooms, design such a way that like it feels like whoever is passing by feels nice to look at it. And if everybody builds nicely, then it becomes a nice street. And if there is a nice street, you will go and walk in that street. And if every street is nice, then it becomes a nice colony or a community. And if every community is nicer, then it becomes a great city. So we have to always feel that way. Like, look at it, like when you come to Delhi, you feel like going to Connaught Place. Why?
Well designed.
Yes.
See, even in India, people will say, where to go? Chandigarh, well planned city, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Audience thinks you may like to comment on that, which city or which colony or which part of the street that you go just to see the aesthetics, because that also bring a big joy. Okay, let's go on the next dimension of the podcast, which is spirituality. Spirituality is not religion directly. If I want to emphasize, Ramprasad sir, if you would like to say, what is spirituality for you? Happiness in organization, mentorship, we have just discussed few elements. But now spirituality. People say happiness leads to spirituality. But what is your meaning of spirituality? Are you a spiritual? How do you say
I
if
am,
you are or you are not?
Yeah.
What
I always say that I'm not a religious person.
we also
I'm
don't want to say
a
that.
spiritual person. It's my connect with something which is unknown. Let's call that unknown as the God or energy or superpower, or maybe like an idol, or maybe a direction of worship. It's my connect where I find myself. I think to me, that is what is spirituality. It's the way you connect to yourself.
Somebody has said very different way. When I asked what is spirituality, he said the ritual of a spirit is spirituality. If you can make one ritual which connects you with yourself, the way you said it, so it is my way. It is my way. So he said, if you maintain just one ritual,
Correct.
it could be going to a temple, it could be just doing a yoga, it could be watching the sky, any particular thing that you do, just one thing.
Yes,
So that you remind yourself.
Yes, like I remember when Christopher used to draw, he used to say that like God comes into him and he flows through the hand onto the pen and onto the paper, and that is when he experiences spirituality. So for him, that's the way of expression. In the same way, somebody who's a musician, he's like immersed in that music and he creates the most beautiful song. That's spirituality, that person, And maybe some mother or a lady in the house, she wants to cook fantastic halwa for her children, and that's the spirituality for her. She gives herself 100%, and all that she is doing is that taking the same suji, same sugar, mixing them with lot of love and affection to get that perfect blend to give that melting halwa, and the kids are very happy, and that's her spiritual journey. So I think spirituality can be anything where you connect to yourself.
Where you connect to yourself. What is that ritual? So audience, listeners, students, start thinking on, is there any one ritual that you have which connects you with yourself? If there is something, you are on this path of spirituality. That is your ritual.
Yeah.
How does spirituality influence your creative process and brings balance to your life? Like this way of connecting with yourself, how this influence your creative process? Like you have to design, you have to think very deep in details of many layers. So is there any way you have thought of, okay, if I would not have been this, I could not do this?
See, I must also tell one more thing, that spirituality doesn't happen like you do something for a few minutes or a few hours or something
true.
like that.
It has to be
a life,
lifelong.
It's a habit.
It's
a lifelong habit, and if you do it for decades and decades, that's when you kind of really get the essence of spirituality. You just don't do it as a ritual or as a chore that you have to finish it. You finished a task, and a lot of things nowadays you hear about, like, oh, I have to go for my meditation class, I have to go for my yoga class. It doesn't happen that way. You're just doing the physical part of it. It is not going to be manifested at a spiritual level, at a soulful level. And when you don't get it at the soulful level, you're not going to be a great musician. You're not going to be an artist of a certain notoriety. And also detach yourself from the monetary part. Most of us, we go with it with an idea that like, oh, if I become a great musician, I'm going to earn this many $1 million. You're never going to do that. No musician who made millions ever thought that way. They gave their 100% to their craft. They perfected that craft. And that's when they got the millions. And for that, you have to spend decades and decades.
Perfection of the craft.
Yes.
That could be the punchline we can take as a listener and a learner. We all believe we are lifelong learners. So we are feeding sometimes on the wisdom of the people, and today we got another one. Perfection of the craft leads to the highest level of happiness, or you can say whatever achievement you want, whatever goals you want to achieve. If you could design a space solely for reflection and inner peace, what elements would it include to inspire spirituality, happiness, peace? Like what element you would like to add on?
As in, you are talking about building materials? Or
it could be anything, like if there is a space we have to design and the building is ready or the building has to be made.
This is almost like an IIT question.
Is it?
I think I'll fail in this.
Is it so?
It's not
Is
an
it
easy answer.
Like just for inner peace, like what, like color or some elements should be added, some sound, like what is a good
You mean to say a
combination?
calming space?
Calming space.
See, a calming space should have all the necessary elements such as water.
The 5 elements you are saying?
Yes, Panchabhuta or whatever.
Panchabhuta.
The sky, the wind, the light, the greenery. I think when you have a space with all of these things, I think there is a kind of a good balance of your mind, and then you will naturally feel very peaceful and spiritual.
Do you have a dream project
Yes.
you believe that
Yeah.
could bring joy and unity to communities?
Yes.
Like which could inspire, as you said, to future generations? Any kind of a dream that you have?
And when I was a kid in my little city, Vijayawada in Andhra Pradesh, we used to have something which is called like a community library.
Okay.
And we anybody could go there and read newspapers and pick up some books and all those things. Today, you do not see any libraries at all. People say that like we can watch films, we can see like, screen and read. No, they are, I think, fooling with themselves. Book is a book. And when you hold a book, there's a different feeling, So I feel that like if I could in my lifetime in a city like Pune where there is no library at all, if I could use all my resources, all my connections, all my wealth to build 2 projects. One is a great city library where anybody can walk in. And we have thousands of books. And it has to be a great place where people feel that like they can just go and like hide themselves. No barriers, no chowkidars, no iCards, none of those things. Just keep sensors. Every book has a sensor, nobody can steal it. We have too many of these things. Look at our temples. We put our gods in jails. Why? Will he escape? Have you ever seen our temples? How we lock them up, and then we have like police people there monitoring how people should go, crowds. I think we are unnecessarily creating barriers. A barrier-free library where anybody can walk in. They want to read over there, sit there in silence. I think that is my dream project. Then there is another project which is called the Performance Center, an art gallery, 2-3 auditoriums where people can perform dances, music, this and that. The more performance centers you have, the more people of that particular area or city will become more civilized. Because the highest achievement of human creation is performances. Like singing. It transforms 500 people who are listening to that person. Dancing. That story narrated by that hand and physical movements transforms 500 people. This is how it was in the past. But today, if you look at it, like we don't have any of those things. I don't even know, like, does Noida have a city library, or every colony of Delhi has a city library where people can just like go in? We need to create these things. And this is what when I go abroad, when I go to America, I can just go to New York City Library and I'm a tourist. I can just walk in. Nobody is stopping me. Yeah. You can just go sit there, read a newspaper or take a temporary membership. Knowledge has to be like that. You don't trap it.
So you are saying we are missing that here?
Absolutely.
All over India?
Absolutely. Can you think about anywhere that you could walk in?
Walk in is like... But yes, they will ask for the membership. That's all. What is that? What difference I'm not getting?
No, I mean can I come to MIT University and sit in the library over here?
Not just like that.
Yeah, why not?
So you are giving me ideas now.
Yes.
So we have to find out ways if those who are interested in reading...
Why only Delhi University students have to go to Delhi University library to sit there and read? You're basically creating barriers.
Yeah, but we can travel. We can travel different universities. Anybody can go and...
No, not that. In my own
As a
city,
guest, you can
no,
go.
you have to have all kind of passes.
some passes have to
this
be
and
there.
that. It's
Yes,
not
but
necessary.
Okay.
City libraries are something like your public parks.
City library, like public parks.
You can just walk in. If you want to go and sit in the Nehru Park, you can walk in, right?
Yes.
Why can't you do the same thing for your It should be like a railway station. Anybody can go in.
Right. Wonderful. So you are giving me ideas for new level of activities or some kind of maybe 2 year, 3 year goals that you are giving to me. Giving ideas now. I'll come back to you how to implement that also. Let's move on to the next section, which is a rapid fire round, or you can say a cool fire round.
Okay. You're going to fire me?
You can fire me back. You can fire me back also.
Okay.
Okay, ready.
I'm ready to get shot.
Here comes the first bullet.
Oh.
The one architectural element you feels defines your personality.
The central space.
Where it is.
Any building that we design
Okay.
has a central space.
And what does that thing?
It congregates everything around. It ties the entire building together.
Okay, it ties everything together.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your go-to source of creative inspiration when you feel stuck? Is there any place you go?
I take a walk on the river bank of Pavana River, and then I free up the mind. There are several projects which keep going like parallelly in the mind. So when I'm stuck, I shut down that one and I work on the next one. Many times working on the next one gives the answers to this one where you are shut. So always in life have like 2-3 parallel projects going around. Even when you're writing some book and you're doing some paintings, that is how the masters used to do. They would have simultaneously work on 3 to 4 paintings. And if they are stuck at some point, they would move on to the next canvas.
I heard those who are avid readers, they read not just one book in one go. They read 2-3 books in parallel.
And the advantage of that is that you are doing what is called a comparative analysis. And many times what happens is like you become a genius when you're able to tie the economy, the aesthetics, the social, the current, everything together. Because you don't understand it only from one dimension, but you understand it holistically. What economic activity led to certain kind of movement? Or what political pressure led to certain kind of, artistic evolution?
Historical.
Yeah.
People have very poor sense of history.
Yes.
But yes, if somebody has it,
Yeah.
he can connect the dots.
Yes.
I think you answered this question, but still I want to double check. A city whose architecture left you speechless. Is it still France
No.
or something else?
I think I like New York.
New York.
Yeah. If I have to I must say, tell you this one. I read somewhere that if I have to think about 2 cities which should never be destroyed, one is New York and the other is Paris. It's because human civilizations can never build them again. And Hitler also, when he reached Paris, his generals opposed him when he wanted to bomb Paris.
His general opposed him.
Saying that we could never bomb Paris and rebuild it again. Although they have bombed London several times.
Okay.
But Paris was never bombed. So you see, sometimes even beautiful cities are spared because even the worst of dictators or the Rakshasas, they also kind of wake up to understand this is a human achievement. So let's not spoil it.
The one project you are most emotionally connected to.
Most emotionally connected to one project.
Like my baby, like my something like that.
Oh, these are.
I'm missing you, something like that. I want to see you again.
I think my house is like that.
I have seen that. It's so wonderful.
Yeah. Every time I go back from my travels, I feel that why did I travel? I stayed in horrible hotels. This is so much more better.
Right. If you could collaborate with any architect or historian, who would it be?
Louis Kahn.
And he is?
He is no more. Louis Kahn is an architect who designed the Parliament House of Bangladesh. He designed the Yale University Library. He designed the an art gallery in Texas. He designed IIM Ahmedabad. So his sense of creating spaces is outstanding.
What's your favorite Indian art form to integrate into design?
Miniatures. Very Indian.
Miniatures.
Miniature paintings, they are like narratives. They are stories. One painting can open up a whole Pandora's box. So I think, unlike one static painting, like the European style of a portrait or something, when you have a miniature or a pichwai, Rajasthani pichwai, they're like kind of a film. You land up discovering so much. So I think your architecture should be like that. In a small form, it should open up to the whole cosmos. You should be curious. What could be there in this corner? What could be there in that corner? What is this space, that space? What is this room?
I remember in the G20 meeting, Prime Minister Modi was welcoming on the stage all the ministers and all the presidents. At the back of that meeting point was architectural of Konark temple, some symbols, some sundials and all that. So the way that you were saying was something similar he has implemented. That, and he was explaining while the handshake was going on the meaning of that scripture, the architecture, the meaning of that painting, explaining that. Okay. One word to describe your mentor, Professor Christopher Benninger.
A wonderful human being.
Okay.
Because he always said that, you should be a good man, not a great architect. First, be a good person.
If architecture could speak, what would your favorite building say?
I belong to all of you.
Very sweet. A dream location where you would love to create your masterpiece. Is it again France and is it again New York, Paris?
Leh.
In Leh. Now you... Okay. So a lot of scope there, lot of space there. The happiest moment of your career so far?
I think when we got the Ajim Premji University, we felt very, very happy. Because I think for the first time we were doing a whole university. And there was this gentleman from scratch. And there was this gentleman who walks into India House. Mr. Ajim Premji, we only heard about him or read about him. And here is a humble man along with his wife and driver. They just walk into India House and they say, oh, we have come here and we want you to design the building. Very rare.
It was not approached by you.
Very rarely this happens. In the times that we live where everybody is so pretentious about their positions, boardroom meetings and presentations and all this, here is a man who walks in to our house and then he says that I want to work with you people on designing our buildings. So we were speechless,
And it was a surprise for you, that he's coming and that he want to have this idea in his mind, something like that.
Yeah.
What's the most challenging material you have worked with in design?
Glass.
Glass.
Glass is not a material meant for India.
Not for India.
Yeah. So when you're doing buildings which are tall buildings, corporate offices, there's a whole fashion now to build buildings with glass. And then they kind of attract too much of heat. They trap in and you are over air conditioning these buildings because Indian climate is very hot, So, which was good, glass was good as a material in the cold climates, but we are mimicking it over here. And then when clients come to us saying that we want buildings New York or Europe, because they travel a lot, and then when we keep saying that glass is not the material for India, it'll trap a lot of heat. So you have to live with their aspirations and build for them because they are your clients and patrons. So you have to sensitively use glass. So we try to avoid using glass towards the south side of the building because south is where the sun is maximum. And we try to put it on the north side. So it is a challenging material from that point.
Okay. The rapid fire round is over and I think I feel that I have shot too much. But you have given the response very beautifully and sweetly, and I think you don't got hurt and you enjoyed it, all the bullets.
I think so. And what is surprising is that I myself I'm very surprised that we never had any cut and then, reshot.
Reshot, yes.
Yeah. Or what is it called? Retakes.
Retakes.
So we can call ourselves, our interview is a no retake interview.
No retake interview.
Yeah.
The third section that we have, Ramprasad sir, is that every podcast we ask the speaker to leave a question to the next speaker.
Oh.
So, and he don't know who would be coming next. And he don't know. Today we had today we had the 9th podcast and before him the speaker was from SpaceX. So he was the person who has gone to the space, literal space.
Wow.
and his name was Andy Sadhwani, a good friend. And he was in Virgin Galactic Mission in June 2024. So in the morning, the person who just came is the CEO of Progressive Aviation Ventures.
Wow.
So when I asked that question to him, it was a new question kind of a thing.
Right.
So now he has left a question, Mr. You can say the person who has just come was Mr. Dr. Rupak Vashist. So he's the CEO of Progressive Aviation Ventures Limited. It's based in Ahmedabad, the gift city. So he has left a question for the next speaker. Now it is you.
Okay.
So I will be talking about his question. He says ethical values are depleting. People are fudging their accounts, information at different level, and there are integrity related issues. So how to ensure as an organization head or as a CEO or the founding person, how to ensure that ethical values are instilled in the employees and the coming generation? That's his question.
I don't know whether I can answer this, but I can say that, like, at least in my own organization, from the day that Christopher and I started this organization 30 years back in 1995, we both have lived our life extremely ethically and honestly. We have nothing to hide. So the one answer could be transparent, show what you're doing, tell how much you're earning, how much you're sharing. The problem comes is that when you start keeping these Watergates, trust is depleted.
The Watergates.
Yes. So don't have too much of barriers. Employees also want to know, what the organization is making as profits or losses. So you try to say that, like, okay, this is what it is, and even that could apply to let's say a family also. I think when we create too many OTPs, too many passwords, too many barriers, obviously you are actually challenging the trust. Transparency is very important in anything. I think by being transparent and by demonstrating that you are transparent, you are doing this way or that way, you are going to teach to your employees, a thing or two, and then they will also endorse those same qualities.
Transparency.
Yeah, and then they will work. They understand one thing, like, all human beings are not like rascals, no? Rules are only made for like maybe 5% of the population. Everybody is not a chore. Everybody is not a murderer.
So thank you for this reply to the question for Dr. Rupak. Dr. Rupak sir, we would be sharing this answer from Mr. Ramprasad ji to you. Thank you. Now, next thing comes is you will leave a question for the next speaker. And you don't know who that person could be, a male, gentleman or a lady, this country or abroad. And we will ask the same question to the next person.
Okay.
So it's a blank check question you can ask to the person.
Blank check question. Using your knowledge and the resources, how would you commit yourself to change the lives of at least 2 people? That's it.
Okay. So we will transfer this question to our next speaker. We don't know, it could be this week or next week, but we will get back to you with the answer that will be given by the next speaker to you. Thank you for this lovely question. And now we are coming to the end of the podcast session. We have covered aspects of your happiness perspectives. You have discussed about the purpose is the most important thing to have. The happiness means intentional living. Then you talked about your favorite locations, architectures. You talked about your mentor, Professor Christopher, meaning like the stay humble, that how he inspired you. And there were few things that you have discussed which are very much inspiring. If I say you said it, let go. I can't forget that. Easy to let go. You also discussed about the famous buildings that you loved it, whether it is Mahindra or even Meenakshi Temple or Opera or Alexandria, the designs that you loved it. And then we ask you a question about the happiness building, and you said, okay, if you want to add this kind of an element, whether it is no claustrophobic, it could be high ceiling, or it should be natural. And I love one punchline that you said it. It is, wise man is like a library. So this is my takeaway also from your so far discussions, and your rapid fire was amazing. Each bullet that you have taken like a soft catch, like a cricket. You have done that lovely. Now, at the end of the session, I would like you to give a small message to our lovely audience. It could be students, faculty from different backgrounds, even community listeners, those who are listening right now in the radio, or while they're driving, or while they're sitting wherever on the couch potato, wherever they are. So one message for all of them. A closing message.
Can this be a little longish?
Yes, please.
Okay. In fact, my message would be 2.
Okay.
When I was visiting Salk Institute in California, Louis Kahn's building, there was on the wall, it was inscribed by Jonas Salk. Jonas Salk was the inventor of polio vaccine, which he gave it free to the world. And if you remember, like we all knew like a lot of polio kids in our times when we were growing up. You no longer see polio in the world. It has been completely eradicated unless there are cases 1 or 2 over here. Now, Jonas Salk was asked by one person that what is the message that you want to give it to the rest of the world? And that has been inscribed on the wall on the building in Salk Institute. And the message that he says that we must ask singularly one question: what sort of ancestors are we to our next generation? If everybody asks that singular question, we will do less mistakes and we'll always make the world better for the next generation. If in the times that we live in, we know that there are a lot of problems, pollution. If each one of us decides that are we going to give to our children bad air, bad water, so we will think about it, and we will not pollute our waters, we will not pollute our air, right? So I very strongly believe that we should be good ancestors to our next generation. That is the message that I very strongly give. The next message that I always say is that questioning and being a thinker is very important. The problem is our education system doesn't teach us to question. If somebody is taking a bribe, we allow that to happen. If somebody is being corrupt, we allow that to happen. We don't question. And when we don't question, we are not thinking. And when we are not thinking, the society is depleting. मुझे क्या पड़ी हुई है? मेरा तो नहीं हो रहा है. Society will only progress when everybody questions, and education makes them thinkers. So I would be very happy if our educators make our next generation thinkers rather than just being book literate. Literacy is important, but making them thinkers is very important too.
So these 2 lovely messages will be the hallmark for this podcast that we are now closing on. Thank you for this lovely message. There is a big surprise for you from MIT University students. As a memento, we create a custom song for our guest of honor for the podcast. I will be playing shortly. Here comes the song.
From humble roots to soaring skies, you've built a legacy that never dies. With every design, a story unfolds, a visionary's touch, strong and bold. RAMPRASAD, you build the dreams of art, of culture, and endless dreams, guiding hearts, shaping minds. A brighter future is what you find. From Hamti to Bhutan's grand halls, your work inspires, breaking all walls. Scholarships, books, and creative flow, your wisdom lights where we need to grow. RAMPRASAD, you build the dreams of art, of culture, and endless dreams, guiding hearts, shaping minds. A brighter future is what you find. Your spirit and murals you paint paint, a cultural beacon never faint, fostering talent, creating space, a lasting mark in every place. RAMPRASAD, you build the dreams of art, of culture and endless streams, guiding hearts, shaping minds, a brighter future is what you find. So here's to you, a guiding star, shaping futures near and far. Your vision shines, your work remains, a legacy of passion in life's terrains.
So now we are at the end of this 10th podcast, and our guest, Mr. RAMPRASAD AKKISETTI ji, the founding MD of CCBA Designs. We had a lovely time, almost 90 minutes we have spent with him, and it felt like a breeze with him. He was very kind, very generous, very receiving person who took every question from the very soft perspective and answered in a way that ordinary student, any student at whatever level of understanding he would like to take on, he will get multiple meanings, or you can say a definitive guidance from his words of wisdom. With this, I would like to extend my gratitude once again to Mr. RAMPRASAD ji for taking his time for this wonderful podcast at MIT University Center for Science of Happiness. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank you, Nitin.
Thank you, lovely audience, for taking care, and please take care of yourself. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay alive. Thank you so much. See you for the next podcast, number 11. We will announce shortly who would be the next podcast. Till then, stay happy, stay healthy. Thank you so much. Signing off from here, I'm Professor Nitin Arora, the host for the session, podcast Executive Harmony, conversation with CEO on happiness and spirituality. Stay happy, stay spiritual. Thank you so much.
चलो ना ढूंढे शहर एक नया, जहाँ मुस्कुराहटे हैं बिखरी, जहाँ से गम का मौसम गया, जहाँ मीठी बातें हर एक अजनबी से हों, भूले हम भी जो सारी फिक्रें, लम्हा लम्हा खुशी।
आजकल सारे उदास रह रहे हैं, लेकिन आपकी जिंदगी में कुछ खुशी का जरिया होगा, तो आपको क्या खुश करता है?
What makes you happy?
पैसा और वर्किंग आउट। पैसा और वर्किंग आउट।
फ्रेंड्स, बेस्ट फ्रेंड।
ओके। तो इसके अलावा और कुछ? फैमिली। और पैसा रहेगा तो सब अपने आप ही खुश हो जाएंगे। यही आप कहना चाह रहे हो? बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
चलो ना गाए नए नए गीत, खेल ऐसा क्यों ना कोई खेल जिसमें सब ही की हो जीत। इन दिनों भूलो तारे कोई भी देखता नहीं, देखे उनको दीवाने हो के कोई कितना भी हमको टोके। खुली हवा हो खुला समा, जागे हुए हो सब अरमा, बेबे 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 हम धड़कने दिल जैसे धड़कने धड़कने दो, क्यों है कोई अजनबी, सोना जो भड़के भड़कने दो।
कैसे हो, खाया क्या खुशियों की कसम। ओ हेलो, ऑफ है मूड, सैड हो तो सुनो। देखो मैंने तो खा ली है हैप्पीनेस वाली कसम, इसके साथ ही कह दिया टाटा बाय टू ऑल द गम। हाय कैसे हो, खुश हो क्या, सच कहो। ओके लिसन, देखो ना झूम रही हूँ पूछो कैसे। सबको रिकमेंड करती हूँ मैं हैप्पीनेस वाली कसम, जिंदगी में एक ही काफी है, नो टेंशन हम हैं मगन।